Hello everybody, this is Sarah Perry, Queen of Arts, and this is your September 2023 Psychic Insights and Predictions. I hope you're all doing well, and I hope that you have enjoyed doing the daily Venus retrograde self-care challenge. For those of you who have got through to the end or are nearly there, then well done. Apologies for the little glitch in between for some of you. I had a few technical issues, which is not surprising, really, considering Mercury went retrograde and we're in the middle of 100,000 retrogrades, and we're in even more now. We've got Uranus joining the party and Jupiter as well. Now, the good news is that Venus is going to be heading off, going direct again, and then by September the 15th, so will Mercury. So things will speed up a bit. But up until then, we've got so much change going on. And I want you to all really look at September as a positive time of reevaluation. And Uranus is really going retrograde as part of a process that's been going on since 2018. So look back to what you were changing, where your foundations are concerned, your material matters, your physicality, how you viewed the world, your value of the world. Back then, what did you change in 2018, or what eureka moments did you have then that you have still been working through and up until now? Uranus is going to be in Taurus up until 2026. So this is all part of the process. Now, this is going to be a big retrograde, like many of them, because of being in Taurus. You will find that, it's going to upset the apple cart inside. Okay, up until now, and this is where people have been having, I would say, more than one catastrophe over the last few weeks, is because Uranus has been showing us events outside, unexpected change. Okay, this is the planet of change, but it is also the planet of wake-up calls. Okay, it's like these times where we go, oh my goodness, that's just happened, I've got to change something. It's kind of just like throws a spanner in the works every now and again. But it can also be on a great creative level. And if you're in a creator, an imaginator, a manifester, somebody who, is into scientific madness or whatever, this could be a wonderful time where you get some amazing insights. And when it goes retrograde, there's even more, because it's coming within you. You're not seeing the outside world so much. You're coming back inside you, and you're starting to evaluate yourself more. Now, Venus retrograde is all about internal value, so you've already started that process. We've already been pushed in that direction, and Uranus has been going, hey, look outside you at all these people, take a really good look at what's going on and what your values are inside, and do you align with them? And then Uranus goes retrograde, and suddenly you go, I get that now. I get why someone's been behaving like that. I understand something. So this could be a really wonderful time to reinventing yourself, to changing things up, getting the life that you want, being the person that you want to be. I've said all along that 2023 is going to be a remarkable year, but it can be a remarkable year in many ways. It can be a negative or a positive, but it's up to you how you choose to design it. Remember that every thought, every choice that you have is what comes next. You create those stepping stones. Nobody else out there is doing it. The only thing that is in control of us is something that is destined and the universe wants us, is implementing. Or the things that are out of control that other people are choosing to do, and we're just affected by it. But we always have that opportunity to choose how we deal with news, how we react, how we move forwards from there. And my guidance today, and the guidance from Spirit, is to really, really take things one step at a time right now, really work through things at the slower pace that is being offered to us as a wonderful gift, because delays are happening, so we have more time to reflect. Now, many of you have probably heard about the dysfunction that has happened in the aeroplanes. Now, Uranus went retrograde on the 29th. I'm not exactly sure which day where all the aeroplanes went with, but that is kind of like a really typical situation regarding retrogrades and changing in planets anyway. Something massive outside of ourselves to, occur, which causes catastrophe everywhere. Mercury's causing communication issues and all that, so that's probably all to do with that as well. Couple it all together, Saturn pushing us to deal with, our internal dreams and visions, because Neptune's also retrograde. Venus looking after our self-care. All these things are happening. So for those of you who have been sitting in an airport for hours, or had to maybe lengthen their holiday, right? There's a lot of lessons here. One thing is the delay maybe of getting back to work. Many people might have been fretting because they couldn't get back. They couldn't get back and get on with their normal life. Were the planets stopping you because your normal life was not good for you, it wasn't beneficial for you, and you were giving time to really be alone or think for yourself, or be sitting in fear for someone out there might have been really frightened and thinking, what do I do next? I have to suddenly think for myself, I've got to be independent. Well, that's showing us our inner strength, our empowerment, allowing us to deal with our fears, right? So everybody is individually dealing with their own thing. The other thing could be that, we're being shown that we needed to consider more insurance. Did we insure ourselves? Did we check every document? Did we sort everything out before we went flying during Mercury retrograde? Okay, this is something that I put out there all the time. I remember saying to somebody not so long ago, just do this. And I saw it ahead of time. Just make sure you've done this. And it sounded crazy from my point of view, probably to the person that was listening, thinking, why would I think about doing that? Oh, yeah. And they're going, yeah. And I thought, you're not going to do that. You're not going to do it. And you are going to come a cropper. Now, a long time ago, I was told some information about a trip. Okay, I was checking up. I was going to Barcelona for a day. And I had a reading myself, and I spoke to somebody, and they said, there's something to do with being late for a bus, okay? And I was thinking, what on earth's that about? And they said, double check. Print out all your information. Make sure you've got double copies. And I thought, okay, fine. I'll do that. Normally I have one hard copy. I've got it on my laptop, on my iPad, my phone. I always double check everything anyway. I've always got an option that I could go to, even if it means I've got to plug in my phone. There's something, a backup somewhere. And I thought, okay. And she said, just put a copy in your suitcase. So anyway, we get to the airport. We were on absolute time. I made sure that we were early because it was a retrograde time. It just happened to be, which wasn't my best option. And the plane was called early, and it was absolutely heaving in the airport. And my mum doesn't see very well. My aunt's a bit slow. We were celebrating my sister's birthday, and we were just going for the day. It was a bit of a crazy idea, but for me it was fun. But it's always been a memorable time, and possibly what we always say, never go to Barcelona again. But anyway, we were all suddenly panicking, right? It was like, we've got to get to the airplane because they're calling us. So we all rushed off down these corridors. And now, if anyone knows Bristol Airport, there is no transit or walkaways, these like travelators. It's just walk, and it's like 20 miles to get to this airplane. And I remember going along at high speed thinking, I've got to get there quick so that I can tell the people there to wait for my mum and everyone, because they're a bit slower. And I'm cursing and effing and blinding all the way down these corridors, because I'm thinking, why have we not got a bus? I mean, I could have got a train to this place. Anyway, we finally get to the other end. And there was a bus that went from there to the aeroplane. And there was a hold-up. But I got there and I said, why are we late? And she said, no, we're just calling people earlier. And I was like, well, why can you not organise? I was so livid by then because we had so much time we were waiting. But then my mum, I remember it, she dropped her passport. She dropped something as we were getting onto the bus, and it caused a bit of a delay with the bus from the airport lounge to the actual aeroplane, because there was a little bus there, which I think they could have just got us a big bus really. But so there was a little hiccup there, and obviously getting there. So that was all a bit of a stress. So that came true. And then I thought, oh, it's all right. I don't need, I've got all these pieces of paper. Anyway, we were delayed coming back. We had issues the whole day. Everyone was stressed. We finally came back to, when we got back to the airport to return flights, my aunt, she lost her information, her check-in information. And because I told her to put something else in her bag, she had another piece of paper. Now, for some reason, this thing disappeared. I don't know what happened to her hard copy. And she wouldn't have had the information on her phone because she wouldn't know how to do that. But luckily, she had another copy in her carry-on luggage. So it did come to pass, and these things were just, everything was very, very disrupted. So I will say to you is, this could very well have been that some people didn't get hotels to go somewhere. They've had to stay in the airport or whatever because maybe they didn't have insurance, So even if you think, oh, it's just a short flight, I've only got a couple of hours to go and whatever, make sure you've covered every single area because you never know what will go on. But also be reminded that you will have wake-up calls about people around you, about how you deal with things, about, just internal wake-up calls, and to use this retrograde time to your best ability to alter the things in your life. Look at it as the universe highlighting things you need to change so you can manifest what you want, okay? Because it is a positive time. I do see people really falling in or really connecting with their addictive behaviour during September. There's a couple of what I call pitfalls coming up where people feel like they're sliding very, very fast down a mountain, okay, and it's like they can't stop and they feel like they're just completely falling out of control. And anything that is addictive, it's like I've gone back into it, I can't get out, So say you've stayed sober for a while or you've been on this wonderful fitness routine, watch little glitches that happen. Now these could be the wake-up calls about people around you. Maybe you're upset by something because someone said something and you're realising, do you know what, you haven't got my back, I've known this the whole time. What was the point? Why am I continuing to follow this pattern? Because I keep doing right by wrong, or rising above it, all of this, and it doesn't work. I need to speak my truth. And you may feel that you take that downward slide because you just feel so bad and you're actually blaming yourself. The important thing is to not blame yourself, right? I do see a lot of important truths coming out, people speaking their truth, saying what they feel. I can see relationships having very quiet breakups or quietly getting back together. Now, if you are in a rocky relationship, if you still have love between you, then it is important that you both recognise that together. It's all very well if one party is saying, I love you, I know I love this person, but I can't make it work, and the other person's saying the same thing. You need to be talking to each other. There's no point talking to a psychic, and I'm kind of self-sabotaging my own business here, but I often say, have you actually spoken to the person? It's all very well asking for insight, but you'll probably just get the information that you're already getting in your head anyway. And remember that the thing that we're most afraid of is often the thing we have to face to get through to someone, to move forwards. Sometimes it's not about having a conversation. Sometimes it's about not trying. Sometimes it's about being still and allowing someone to come to you, or making the move in order to get things moving. And sometimes that means closing a door. Remember that someone can always open a door. You don't have to lock it. You can be adaptable. Because again, with all these retrogrades and everything going on, we need to be adaptable to change. Now, there is a lot of abundance around relationships and home life, and I do see redecorating coming in. Remember to wait till around the 20th, I would say, September to start actually implementing big changes, because I'm seeing this kind of hiccuping effect after the 15th to do with Venus, where some people might still find things aren't going the way they planned. I'm seeing particularly about getting nails done, extensions, or trying a different thing because that thing hasn't been working. It's not been working during the retrograde because it wasn't important, okay? It's not important about your outside appearance during retrograde. It's about showing your inner beauty and trusting your inner beauty and realising that you have, and working on that inside self to actually radiate and to change the physical self, okay? If you're feeling great and you're feeling love for yourself and you're feeling light, then the weight that you are carrying, the burdens that you're carrying that are coming out in physical ways will actually start slipping away, okay? the more that you focus on your inner self, the lighter you will feel, okay? Release those burdens, face those fears, because many of us are just holding on to these collective challenges. We cling to them because we know them, and it's just, you might even be aware of them all, but you're saying it out loud, so why aren't you doing anything about it? And I talk about wake-up calls. I'm seeing people's eyes suddenly being opened and suddenly going, right, I'm doing this now. I remember when Uranus went retrograde when Uranus went into Taurus on 2018, that was the time I implemented moving to Spain. Okay, and I made some big changes. I had some very, very quick wake-up calls. It was just, just to explain how it comes, it's like you just wake up one morning and going, why didn't I do that? Why didn't I realise that? And it's that simple. It's not like a great big firework going off in your head. It's just like a realisation. It's like, oh my God, I've been wasting all that time on that person and I could have just done it anyway. Why have I been self-sabotaging myself? And it's very subtle, but it's very powerful. And I'm seeing things changing around the home. I'm seeing abundance, but abundance comes from shifts, okay? Remember, if you're manifesting abundance, if you're manifesting some great big thing in your life, it will come with a big shift. And it's often something that can be uncomfortable or like a catastrophe or a realisation that hurts you deeply. Something might hurt you that you already know and you're thinking, I still haven't dealt with that. That's a wake-up call in itself. See the evidence of the shifts and acknowledge the shifts for the change to happen. Don't see the shift and then run back into your hole. Embrace it and go, hey, that's a big change. Okay? They can be subtle. They can be small things on the outside when people are looking in. But to you, it might feel like a bit of like a stab in the back. That's what I'm getting. It's that feeling that sometimes we have to be hurt to move forwards. So it's like, how many times do you have to be like poked and prodded and told and be upset by, our ego to be upset for us to make a change? I'm seeing this sense of luck coming from being pushed out into the cold, to be pushing out into the centre ring, to having to face your enemy, to suddenly face up to what is necessary. But that will enable letting go. And they're saying, just let go. Just let it wash all over you. It's like when you have a phobia, that you get that feeling, of absolute panic. If you just breathe and just let it wash over you and go, oh, okay, then it will just disappear. It's just like going, it's like passing someone in the street. You see them coming, you go, hold your breath and breathe out. Okay, it's as simple as that. It's all it is. It's the same thing. There's definite changes. There's going to be phone calls coming from some people wanting to make amends. I'm seeing new beginnings coming together. 1, 2, 3, 4. All of a sudden, all these things sparking up. Now, Jupiter's retrograde, okay, again, don't be afraid of that. It's been helping us during these other ones, during the August, okay? The heavy Venus-Mercury situation and Saturn. Jupiter's been coming in with a little bit of luck, striking out, going, hey. Look, I'll just turn this around. Let's give you a good thing. So I've always said focus on your joy. Hence why I was doing the 30-day self-care challenge to try and get everybody in the right mindset. Now, the ones that probably didn't finish that or didn't want to or weren't looking for the glitch and desperately wanting to do the next day were the ones that probably just let go of it after 30 days. It's like, how much do you commit to on a long-term scale that was good for you? How long do you spend really relatively on as something that you're giving to yourself that's going to be good to yourself? Do you just 100% go into it for one day and then just kind of let go of it after 4 because you get bored? Really, really start considering that and analysing that, because that will show you the percentage of self-care that you put in. And it's really important. If you want these changes, you need to put yourself first sometimes and let go of that guilt. Now, I just want to say, I have updated my website. I'm now offering one-to-one personal life coaching sessions, block sessions for people. There are some lovely little gifts in there with free readings. So you can pay for a month, you can pay for 8 weeks, 12 weeks, working on your specific issues on a weekly basis or a couple of weeks. It's up to you how you would like to work this, but you pay for the 4 sessions, and with that you get constant email support. You get not necessarily me on tap, but it's not just a one-off reading. You get to go into things in more depth. Okay, so have a look at that, the website, look at book consultation, and you'll see everything. Is also like life coaching, different courses. I'm doing a lot of online courses. I'm creating an app as well, so do ask me if you want more information on that. Okay, but getting back to the reading, I do see a little bit of a kerfuffle around the 15th and 16th of September, where wires get crossed, things get a little bit out of hand. But I do feel that Spirit is bringing insight to this matter and about freedom. I'm also seeing opportunities around that and more details about opportunities. This could be an argument where you're kind of someone's stirring the pot, and you're seeing a reason why an opportunity isn't happening, how to push the door further open. I do see work-related stuff, but a good awareness as well. There's people getting in control of jealousy, their own jealousy and other people's jealousy. I feel like this has been a hindrance to a lot of people as well. There's things on the news coming up. Something which is going to come up about some kind of satellite issue or meteorite, some kind of combination happening upstairs up there in space, which is going to have effect on aerials, telecoms, that kind of thing. I feel like that's coming around between the 12th and the 14th, just before Mercury goes direct. It's almost like it's angry. I'm getting an angry Mercury, something saying I'm fed up with going backwards, I want to come forwards, but it's everyone else's projections as well, and it's interfering with the electronics. It's like the energetic vibrations for everybody else are actually creating all these different disturbances that are happening. There's a lot of anger rising from some people coming up, and there's going to be some big outbursts before the end of December, so be aware of that. If somebody just suddenly goes what and turns on the heels and they're gone, and they literally go out the door, I've got between the 26th and 29th, don't expect them back. Okay, I feel like they've had a realization, they've woken up and they're gone. I'm seeing people taking some big pilgrimages or deciding to suddenly settle an old score. If you decided to stop movement towards a change, or you got frightened, I feel like you're getting an opportunity to implement that again. Something's going to come, maybe in the post or in an email, to actually push you forwards again. An idea will come. Realisation of what you were self-sabotaging is coming up more for many people. There's going to be a lot of reflection over the month of September. Some things will seem calmer, although things have felt slow and at a slow pace. This is calmer, this is less stressful, and some revelations are going to come up in a big way emotionally to show you the depth of an issue. Again, I'm getting settling old scores, putting things to bed, completion. There's more expansion coming in the horizon. People are going to be looking more to 24, 25, looking at the economy and how that is working, looking at their long-term prospects for the job. There's going to be shifts in some places where jobs are concerned, and I do see fear rising up and saying, am I going to have a job by the end of next summer because of all the computer situations that are coming in? But I also see the computer help like they have in all these supermarkets, for self-service and that being reordered as well, and something coming up on the news, because when we do get affected, like with the aeroplanes, everything goes down, and actually that's when we need extra people. And I'm getting like people on call or a service where people can come in and they can work freelance, and they get paid a small amount of money to be from home, where they can come in once in a while, or they come in as support. So that's something, because this has to be looked at. We can't rely on machines alone, because machines alone cannot do the job. Okay, because when they go down, we still need people to come in to fix them, and that delays everybody else, and that causes more of a wave of irritation. I'm seeing more people then considering creating their own food, creating their own stuff, solar panels, all these things that are natural, so that we don't have to rely on communication and electronics and whatever. Finding new ways of doing things. I'm seeing a lot more outdoor activities, people doing courses outside, being more one-to-one again rather than online, where we were more in COVID. So this is quite an enterprising month. I do see things moving forwards, but it's coming from realizations, epiphanies, sudden changes coming in. Things that you might be considering now may not take effect. They will change maybe by September. And I do see a goal related goals looking towards September, December, and what's happening. As the heat is moving and clearing and the weather's changing, our mindset's changing as well. It has been affecting us on quite a deep level, the weather, and what we're starting to see is how the energy outside the universal, the equator, everything else is affecting how we see things too. Everything is part of each other, everything is linked, everything is connected, and that is something that is going to become very, very apparent during September. So I hope you all have enjoyed this reading. If you'd like a private one, please go to my website